Hello and welcome back to Movie Recap. Today we're going to talk about a drama crime movie titled Going in Style. Watch out for some spoilers ahead. Joe Harding walks into the Williamsburg Savings Bank. He meets an arrogant teller named Chuck, who warns him Joe is behind on his mortgage payments. But Chuck says Joe have to pay his bills on time if he doesn't want to lose the house. Three masked crooks with machine guns rob the bank moments later. Everyone is forced to lie down like a cat by the leader. The leader approached Joe when he cramps up and tells him to relax. At the same time, Joe sees a Genghis Khan-like tattoo on the man's neck. As the criminals flee with more than $1 million, Joe notices poor Chuck peeing in his pants. Joe is interrogated by an FBI agent named Hammer. Joe explains what he has witnessed, and a robber has a Genghis Khan tattoo. The next morning, Joe is playing bingo with his best pals, Willie and Albert, at the park. Willie reads a newspaper about the heist. The FBI and the NYPD are reporting no leads at this time. Joe then tells them that the robbers did it perfectly. The next day, their manager convenes a meeting with all employees to inform them that the company has been bought out and all manufacturing will be moved to Vietnam. To make matters worse, Joe returns home and finds an eviction notice after spending the rest of the day with Willie and Al. Joe is heartbroken that he, his daughter Rachel, and granddaughter Brooklyn will be homeless as a result of this. Willie goes to the doctor and is told he needs a new kidney transplant or things aren't looking good for him. He was also compelled to maintain a long-distance relationship with his daughter Carrie and granddaughter Kanika due to his financial difficulties. They send him a shirt in the mail. Willie's birthday is celebrated by the three pals at a lodge with their co-workers. His pals present him with a watch with Kanika's face. Joe discusses a scheme to rob Williamsburg Savings Bank, as they are the ones who bought out Wechsler and are responsible for everyone's pension cuts. Savings Bank is hurting people all over the country, and that by robbing the bank they can solve their current problem. Later that night, Willie calls Joe and tells him that he wants to live a better life. He begins to think he has nothing to lose if they try to rob the bank. Al still doesn't agree with their idea, but Joe tries to persuade him, and it manages to make Al change his mind. The next day, they went to the grocery store. Al prepared his shopping coupons and a list for ingredients to make chicken cordon bleu, but Joe and Willie suddenly put on a hat and took the list from Al's hands. Joe tells him that we have a business and asks Al to stay in the car. It turns out that Joe and Willie are training to rob by stealing ingredients for chicken cordon bleu. One of the security guards chases the two out of the store with their stolen goods. As they try to outrun her, Joe grabs a lady's motor scooter and puts Willie in the basket. Willie tried to throw a bag of pork and flour into the air to block Cindy's pursuit, but they failed to beat the red light and come to a complete stop before colliding with a bus. Al is arrested as well, and they are taken to the security office. And manager Keith shows them footage from security cameras. He warns them not to steal in his shop again and gives them shopping coupons before being released. Al is angry with Joe and Willie and leaves them there. Joe thinks they need a professional to teach them to rob. Joe then brings Willie to Murphy, Joe's former son-in-law who runs a marijuana shop. Joe persuades him to find someone who can assist them in carrying out the heist. Murphy tells him he knows a man named Jesus, the owner of a pet shop, who might be able to teach them how to orchestrate a heist. The next day, Joe and Willie hang out at the cafe and Al joins in, though he still appears unhappy at them. Willie reads in the newspaper that the Wechsler Steel Company is using their retirement money to pay utility bills, and the Williamsburg Savings Bank will manage the liquidation of funds and the restructuring of Wechsler's corporate debt. Al is furious after learning that the bank stole their pension. He decides to join them to rob the bank and get their money back. The three then go to meet Jesus, giving him a bag of weed from Murphy and telling him that if he helps them, he will get a 25% reward. To prove they're cool with him, he makes the dudes take hits from a joint. When they agree up the plan, Jesus seems to doubt them and warns them of the risks of robbing, but Joe makes it obvious that it is vital for those closest. Jesus respects Joe's bravery and agrees to assist the dudes. The three and Jesus are working together for the next 2 weeks to go over the plan. They practice fleeing quickly, as well as how to employ an unobtrusive getaway car, build an alibi, and learn to shoot if required. They then build an alibi by volunteering on the T-shirt committee for the lodge's fundraising carnival. When the carnival is held, they begin to mingle with people. Joe pretends to replace the ticket keeper, but he just gives his hat to his friend and he puts on a different hat. Al is at the cotton candy booth, but he goes to the toilet as Knowlton replaces him. He then opens the back of the toilet while Willie puts on a Frankenstein costume and goes into the haunted house. He then changes his appearance into a mummy costume and goes out to the committee's bus. Then they leave the carnival at the right moment to move it on the bank. They disguise as Frank Sinatra, Dee Martin, and Sammy Davis Jr. They enter the bank. Al shoots his gun in the air and told the people to lie down. Joe and Willie immediately order the tellers to fill their bags with money. Just as Willie was about to finish his work, A young girl named Lucy wanted to hand him her doll. Willie approaches him despite Joe's warning to him to stick to the plan, which prompts a teller to press the alarm button. As Willie tells the girl that he doesn't want the doll, he suddenly becomes dizzy because he can't breathe so well through his mask. She tries to help him by removing part of his mask. However, she notices Willie's watch with Kaneka's face on. Meanwhile, the police have started going to the bank. Joe helps him up and they begins to go out the door. But Chuck, the obnoxious teller, takes out a gun and fires at the boys, but he is horrible and misses every shot. Al then comes up towards him and ignites his gun, which it's loaded with blanks. The three manages to get out and escape just before the police arrives, and the boys got away with nearly $2 million. They then part ways at a crossroads. Joe leaves by taxi, leaves by bus, and Willie drives the bus back to the carnival. The next day, Joe and Al visit Willie at the hospital. Al is disappointed that he didn't tell him about his illness. Meanwhile, Agent Hamer is assigned to the case in order to track down the bank robbers. After speaking with the manager, Keith, who identifies Al's walk in the bank tape matching his walk in the grocery shop footage, the three are apprehended and brought in for interrogation. They are able to maintain their alibis thanks to witnesses who corroborate their claims that they were at the carnival the entire time. Lucy is called in to help in identifying the men in a lineup. Willie's watch is one of the first things she notices about him, but Lucy informs Hamer that the suspect is not in the lineup. Willie gets a kidney transplant from Al, and the three also split their money between their co-workers and the lodge friends. Al and Annie get married. At the reception, Joe delivers an emotional speech. Everyone gets up and starts dancing. The three then share a toast to their good fortune while standing on a footbridge. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to watch video like this, turn on the notification, and leave a like as really help the channel out.